What are 4 tips for making better decisions? I found this blog at Intuit, I-N-T-U-I-T. Intuit's a very large technology company, .com/money. 4 tips for making better decisions, and I'm not seeing the author's name here. Let me see, I'll find it. I didn't find the author's name. I'll have to find that for you. He or she says, and I quote, "Whether solving a daily conundrum or plotting a game, a game-changing move, small business owners are constantly making decisions. However, spending the day putting out fires may not be the best use of your time." May not be the best use. It is not the best use of your time. Having to cope with the same problems over and over is taxing and exhausting. And if it's the same problems over and over, something's not right. Something's not right. Having to cope with the same problems over and over is taxing and exhausting, says Robert Papes, a consultant who helps businesses improve their bottom lines. Furthermore, Robert says, it prevents the owner from effectively managing the business. So how do you overcome challenges while finding time for everything else? Okay, number 1, identify the root causes. Making a decision to solve an immediate problem may provide a quick fix, but there could be underlying cause to those day-to-day problems. Is the real issue linked to certain procedures or processes that could be changed? That probably is the most important concept in making a better decision, is finding out why did something happen? What are the root causes? You must be able to put your arms around that so that you can make the change necessary. I've often said that you can make a mistake twice and still survive, but you make that same mistake a 3rd time and it becomes very, very difficult to move on and survive from that. I've made many mistakes twice, and several of them I've made a 3rd time, and they become disasters. I've survived, I've come back, but it made it all the more difficult because I made the same mistake 3 times. And that's a very, very important part in your decision making. Learn from what it is that you did wrong. Identify the root causes. Okay, point number 2. Ask others for input. When Molly Mahoney Matthews, president and CEO of the Starfish Group, a consulting business, needed more space, she decided to set up a second office near her home. Although she enjoyed the short commute to the office, she quickly learned that her employees were unhappy with the new arrangement. Staff members needed to have frequent face-to-face meetings, and the 2 locations made those difficult to carry out. That's a pretty simple lesson to be learned. If Molly had asked an expert, maybe somebody in real estate who plans offices, helps offices find new locations, that's the kind of person that maybe Mary should have asked before she made a decision which Uh, she didn't think it was a bad decision creating a location closer to her home, but she had employees that were not factored into that decision, and that's where she ran into problems. Uh, the two offices became a running joke. As soon as the lease in the second location was up, she obviously moved everybody back together again. The lesson: get feedback before making a major decision. Okay, number 3. Here's one that is very, very challenging in helping us to make better decisions. Keep your goals in mind. Where do you want your business to be in 5 years? That's an important question to think 5 years out. You have to be thinking that. But more importantly, where do you want your business to be 100 days from now? I like to think in terms of 100 days, chunks of time, 100 days. It's an easy number to remember. Instead of trying to remember how many months there are in the year, how many days there are in each month, think in terms of block of 100 days. You heard me say earlier today, the next 99 days, 100 day was yesterday, but the next 99 days, David's Barter Community is playing the Entrepreneur's Fun game, so that when you create your own landing page, complimentary for the next 99 days until the end of the year, 24 folks who have landing pages, 3 people in each of 8 categories, will win a prize. What are those prizes? The winning landing page in each one of the categories. Winning means you've generated the most cash flow on your landing page. That's fun because it helps you personally in your business, and also can even be more fun if you're number 1 in your category, in your sociographic. There's 8 of them. The first winner will receive a 400-day complimentary subscription of our managed, optimized bandwidth. 400 days. That carries a value of $1,599. The second winner in each of the 8 categories will receive a 200-day subscription of our managed, optimized bandwidth. That carries a value of $999. And the third winner in each of the 8 categories will get a managed, optimized bandwidth subscription, complimentary, for 100 days. Obviously, that'll all happen in 2013, except the 400 days, which will extend into 2014. If you want to get more information and more rules about the game, go to davidsbarter.com/entrepreneurs, and you will see a page like this. I'll have more art on that page. This page is missing the artwork, the logo at the top, but it explains the game. It explains the 8 categories, the 8 sociographics that we have, and states the prizes. That's a game you can be playing for the next 99 days. Keep your goals in mind. Where do you want your business to be in 5 years? Before making a decision, run the issue past the long-term plan that you have for your company. We've been talking a lot about the business plan of your company. I contend that unless you are going outside of your own personal savings, your own personal access to money, for your business, to start your business, you don't need a very detailed plan. You need a plan. You need to write it down, but it does not need to be as detailed as a plan must be if you're going outside of your own resources to get money for your business, because nobody is going to give you money for your business, be an investor in your business, unless you can show them a detailed plan that they will accept and buy into. So, Once again, as you're starting your business, don't worry about a long, detailed plan unless from the very beginning you know that you're neither going to have to raise outside capital other than your own resources to do that business. And the author says, and if you don't have goals in mind, it's time to make some. Yeah. Make sure your choices, even the seemingly small ones, are in line with your overall outlook for the company. Okay, good point. Point number 4, let it rest for a bit. There's often pressure for a small business owner, particularly one starting up, to make decisions quickly. But it's usually not as urgent as it might feel, Matthews notes. For important matters, take the time to sleep on it before making a decision. I love that. I only make a quick decision when I know I have to make it. I love to have the gift and resource of time to make that decision. Not to take too much time, but to take time to study as many options that I possibly can and make the decision to pick the option which I feel will be best for me personally and best for the overall picture and outlook of the business. When needed, ask for more time to consider your options. Always ask. Once you look at a matter with fresh eyes or a good night's sleep, you'll be able to make a well-thought-out decision that benefits the company. Thank you, and I'll share with you who the author is, as soon as I find that out. 4 tips for making better decisions. Not too long after I found that blog, I found another blog, the top reasons your decisions fail you. This was from an article I found at Forbes.com in a blog by Kathy Caprino. Kathy Caprino at Forbes.com/sites/Kathy Caprino, Caprino. And the top reasons your decisions fail you. Number 1, don't support your decision does not support your intrinsic value. And what does she mean by that? No decision can be a good one if, in making it, you're going against what you value and what you respect. I've made so many errors in my career. This is Kathy talking, but I have made a lot of errors myself by taking work, consulting gigs, partnerships, or pursuing new opportunities that in my heart I didn't value or respect, but I did so because I thought I had to. That's a good point. Your intrinsic values. I recently made a decision, not recently, I made the decision 2 years ago, to loan a friend some money. Actually loaned 2 friends some money. And they came to me out of desperation. They actually came to me and asked me if I would do it, and I did it. I did it without enough thought. 2 years later, as that amount of money was finally repaid, after a lot of pain and agony on my own, I stopped back to say, I actually deserved the pain that I lived with because I did not do the proper research before I made the decision to loan them money. I actually loaned them money as a friend, but I also saw a business opportunity, and it'll take too much time for me to explain that to you, But I learned I thought about a business opportunity, so that's why I did it. But I didn't take enough time to truly do my homework, truly do the research before I made the decision to loan them money. What's the lesson to be learned? Without exception, align your decisions with your values. Honor what you hold dear, what you know to be true, and your highest standards of integrity. Thank you, Kathy, for reminding me. Too late on that one. Okay, number 2, Kathy talks about and asks the questions, or makes the statement for a reason that our decisions fail us. They are committed poorly or without proper reflection. I've made some good decisions that turned out badly because I failed to communicate them in a thoughtful, confident, and clear way. An example of this, Kathy says, is when I had to move away from partnerships I've created, often with folks who became my friends, who had become my friends. They were solid reasons why I believed we needed to part, but even so I felt racked by guilt or worry that my professional colleague would be hurt or angry. So I botched the way the decision was shared, communicated, and executed. Thank you, Kathy. I've done that myself. The lesson to be learned. A decision is only as good or positive as the way in which it is shared and communicated. As an anecdote, I often say that 99.9% of the problems that anybody is confronted with in life are due to bad communication somewhere along the line. Okay, number 3. We make bad decisions that come from a place of weakness and disempowerment. Consulting gigs, oh wait, I went the wrong way on that. Oh, there we go. Come from a place of weakness and disempowerment. Decisions that emanate from weakness, fear, or running away from something almost never move you forward. I don't think they ever move you forward if you're made from weakness, fear, or running away from it. You can't get to the next level of success or fulfillment if you don't do the inner and outer work of overcoming your fears and addressing, she calls them, your power gaps. When you decide, I've had it, for instance, with a relationship, a job, a situation, or a role you're playing, it's vitally important that you attempt to shift yourself in the situation first before running from it. The lesson to be learned. If you run away from something, which is a decision, whether you know it or not, or when you choose to act from a sense of fear, powerlessness, or victimization, you'll find that the decision you made won't resolve the problem. The same challenges will reappear in your next situation. Number 4 reason. Haven't been properly vetted. They don't factor in well enough the potential impact and outcomes. One necessary ingredient to great decisions is that you've gathered all the necessary information from the most diverse and inclusive perspectives possible and evaluated each alternative scenario before you choose one option. Great point. And we said it earlier, you need to take the time to do it and not necessarily make a quick decision to something unless a quick decision absolutely is needed and must be made. Many terrible decisions come from an incomplete decision-making process that failed to involve the necessary brainstorming phase or a thorough enough evaluation of all the potential consequences of each alternative. The lesson to be learned: develop sufficient boundaries so that you're not being overly reactive, emotional, or analytical in your decision making. Use an integrative style that incorporates as much feedback and data as possible and allows you to brainstorm all possible solutions and vet them in an effective, integrative way. Vetting decisions. And the last one, number 5, decisions are focused on the wrong problem. Oh, well. Numerous bad decisions I've made. This is Kathy talking. Kathy, I'll give you her proper last name. Kathy Caprino. Numerous bad decisions I've made in my professional life emerged because I was looking for the wrong problem. There were situations in which I knew things had to change in my career, but instead of pinpointing exactly wasn't working, taking a long, hard look at the root cause, we talked about the root cause in the beginning, I focused on an ancillary issue, one that wasn't as deeply challenging to explore and deal with. Except, Kathy, don't end your sentences with prepositions. Thus, the decisions I made couldn't possibly bring about the desired outcomes because they didn't address the right problems. Kathy cites as an example of this when she found herself in a job she absolutely hated. Have you been in that situation? Are you in that situation? But instead of dealing with the misery of that and changing employers immediately, or better yet, starting her own business, which she probably did, I sought promotions and more responsibility, thinking that focusing on getting more would somehow alleviate the pain of her feeling less. The lesson to be learned: when you know you have to make a change, make sure you identify the deepest root of the problem and address that. Get help to do that if you need it. Don't take the cheap way out of the decision-making process by bypassing the most critical issues and problems you need to resolve. Her summary paragraph, and I want to thank Kathy Caprino for her wonderful blog on why decisions are made, why the top reasons decisions fail you. Her summary paragraph: decisions are fundamental tools that help you face life's challenges, uncertainties, and opportunities. And the quality and efficacy of your decisions will determine how successful, fulfilled, and productive you'll be. Take the time now to explore and improve your decision-making process so that you can make better decisions that honor who you are and what you really want. Once again, thank you, Kathy. We're going to end this segment on making better decisions. And our final segment today will be on 5 essential parts of a business-to-business social marketing plan. Stay with us. While I'm doing this, why don't you take the time, if you haven't already, to register at davidsbarter.com and start to create your community marketing profile. All of that is complimentary. and then create a landing page for yourself and start your business. Once again, complimentary for the next 99 days. And in that 99 days, you will be able to compete and have some fun in our Entrepreneurs Fun Game. 24 winners, 8 categories, a first, second, and place in each one of the categories. That's 24 winners will win complimentary subscriptions for 2013 of our managed, optimized bandwidth. That's what our landing page is. It's a managed, optimized bandwidth because we bring traffic to the community with the big bandwidth that we have, and we manage that bandwidth to find your landing page, your business inside of our community.